We engage in authentic conversations about our weekly entrepreneurial goals while exploring business, failures, success, and personal growth.
We're going to continue to work and get better at this, so thanks for tuning in.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Our vision will highlight a diversity of guests who are creatives, industry leaders, and individuals creating positive change within our communities. Join us on the Our Vision podcast.
Our shared journey to become better humans.
It's not only our vision, but it's your vision too.
FSU. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
An interesting day today, Joe.
Yeah. This was
Is it Mercury in Retrograde?
That's what we were told. That's for sure. So, see, I woke up this morning and realized that I had lost my wallet. Good time.
Yep, good times.
Every credit card and every account I had to call and cancel. And I started getting phone calls from like 3 credit cards where they were trying to make attempts. So
And somebody ran into my parked car.
Yeah, I caught them. She was going to drive away. So this old woman's outside. She stops. I'm like, oh, okay. Just glanced over. Was getting ready to come in the house. And all of a sudden I see her ramming into the back of your car. She was going to drive away. I'm like, hey. And she's like, oh. She stopped. And then I had you come out. She was kooky.
There was something going on with her.
Yeah, she was, I think she was medicated heavily.
Yeah. So we have some news about the sheriff's sale.
Yes, that was
we
failed.
Big fail.
Big fail.
Big fail.
So we knew that the auction was going to be the 10th, right? Today.
Yes.
But when we got back in town, we drug our feet because we were trying to do some other things that we were working on for clients and other projects that we were working on, and dropped the ball. And come Friday evening, we realized we had not put a deposit down, and you have to put a deposit down 2 days prior to if you're doing a wire transfer. And was it 5 to 7 days for an ARCH debit or ARCH
ACH transaction? Yep. Yeah, it was at least 5 days.
At least 5 days. So we really dropped the ball. So we go in on the weekend. We couldn't, of course, you can't do it on there. But PNC, we also did learn that PNC banking. We were talking a little bit about that address. My bank is one of the only banks that ask for the address of the real estate house or the auction house. So it's an extra layer of security, which is, it's fine. I don't mind that, but we didn't know that at first. So when you sign up to make your account on Real Auction, it gives you all the information you're supposed to take to your bank. We figured we had it. No, we do not have it. So I called on the 9th. I called the auction house, and he walked me through and let me know what that entailed. So,
and another thing that we learned too was that the proxy auction is a real thing. So they give you 7 days prior to the final auction day, which was Tuesday, and that's when they make their final decision on who wins the bid.
And it's so weird because there was only
in our case, we would have had to put in our bid early before the auction date.
And I'm not sure how many people bid on this, but
there were 2 people showed up. Two bidders showed up in that.
Right.
I don't know if that's accurate, but and what did they bid on those?
One was 52,000, which you're right.
I think there was one bidder on 2 properties.
Right.
And the one that we were going for, we were looking at the most 25,000.
Yeah.
Is that our highest bid? This individual bid almost 50,000.
Yeah, which made no sense. I don't understand why he went so high. Like, he didn't need to go that high. I don't know if he was up against anybody.
Unless they only show the winning bidders.
I don't know. Well, we weren't present during the whole bidding process.
All the other bidders, maybe they don't show that. So
it still was very high for that house. Like, I think that comped, like I said, we figured it was between 40 and 70, but they can still make it work. I think even if they put 15,000 into the place.
And there's even opportunity to add on to it to make it a bigger unit as well.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of failed, but we definitely learned some things along the way. So we're better prepared for the next time. And then we're working with the other partnership. The people are going to be working with us, my brother, and setting up accounts and getting things ready for the future. So now we know that you have to have the deposit in ahead of time. and we'll definitely be ready for it next time. So it's not a big deal. It wasn't like an all or done boo-boo cry or whatever.
There was a failure we did because we didn't get what the hell was that? Do you hear that?
Yeah, I heard something scratching, right?
Yeah, I'm getting some kind of weird interference.
Yeah, I hear it a little bit. So.
But anyway, hopefully it doesn't pick up in the it's my phone. That's weird.
Oh, your phone was doing that.
Yeah, I think I have Spotify on, and maybe that's what was causing it. I don't know. But yeah, we failed at getting the wire transfer in for one thing.
Yeah, and like we talked
on
about
time.
Today, it wouldn't really matter either way.
It wouldn't matter.
We wouldn't have gone that high. We
just
wouldn't
we don't have that capital. So, but we did have some other positive things. Like my car was hit. Joe got his entire wallet stolen. Luckily, he was able to cancel everything out before they got anything. Yep. And what else happened? You were followed by someone.
Well, yeah, but even with the when I went to my bank account, as this was all happening, somebody tried to Cash App themselves.
Yeah.
With my credit card.
Yep.
And their name came up. Part of it. So I called the police and like, oh yeah, we know who that person is. Possibly. And then,
a little bit ago, before you got back from yoga, a gentleman showed up, Dave,
down the road. I had introduced.
He had a couple of your cards from your wallet that the neighbor across the street from him, from his mother, lives. And she remembered your name.
She's like 90, and I met her one time. Told her what my name was, and when she found these cards as she was sweeping the street or doing whatever she does, she found these a medical card and something else, and she goes, "Oh, that's that guy down there." She remembered my name from one time saying it. That's impressive because I would have. Yeah. I totally had already forgotten her name.
I wouldn't remember your name.
No,
and he was even like, "I'll never remember your name."
That's what he said. Yeah, we were all impressed that she just.
But you found out what neighborhood you lost your wallet in.
Yep.
Now, whether they got into your car or you dropped it, it was right outside of our property. So whoever is living in our neighborhood stole right from our backyard.
Yeah, and this all happened
in the same neighborhood.
This all happened because I was rushed yesterday. I had scheduled a meeting with somebody and totally blanked out. So I was kind of like off kilter a little bit. Came home and I don't know. I could have dropped it. I could have left my car open. I'm not sure, but now at least we know it happened right in our street. So
that's shitty that you have people living in your own neighborhood,
right,
that are willing to take your shit and try to use it.
Yeah. Well, they didn't get shit.
They didn't.
So that's good.
And it wasn't very smart the way they handled it. But some positives happened though.
Yeah, we
met the neighbor across the street that owns multiple properties that may be willing to work us a deal. So that goes back to what we were saying too about talking to people. And I knew, I looked out the window and I saw her outside and I'm like, Joe's going to beeline for her because you're getting ready to leave.
Yep. Well, and I hadn't met her yet. So, since we moved in here and we're fixing this place up, every time I get a chance, I try to meet one of our neighbors.
And you want to meet them anyway. It's not because there's an agenda there. It's because you want to meet the people that were living around too. So but we knew that there could be some opportunity also.
Right. And I had met her brother-in-law who her other sister owned some properties on our street, and they both own properties, and they was split. The inheritance was split, and they're all getting older. And but I wanted to meet them. Like when I went to go meet the lady down the street that gave my cards back tonight, that was just to go meet her. She's in her 90s, and I just wanted to let her know that we were down here. If she needed anything, we could help you out or let us know. Blah 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 blah. And then I seen her out today, and I'm like, oh, I get to meet her. So it was nice talking to her. And as we started talking to her, we found out that she would be open to possibly down the road here, maybe working out a deal that was
owner financed,
or we'd get lawyers involved and amortize towards her, maybe with a chunk down, and then start to a higher interest rate that works for her, but still works for renting the places out, over time. So
it's worth talking to people.
Yeah, I think.
And I mean, you've proven that already. So
time and time again, that's really helped me in life. Like that's how I find work. That's how I've found other customers. That's how I, just stay connected to my community. So I think it's not always easy. I understand some people don't like to do that, but you know what? You got to get out of your comfort zone too sometimes. I mean, it's nothing to say hi to somebody, and just introduce yourself. And then if that's all you can do for the first time, that's all you do. But I love keeping the conversation going, and she was more than willing to talk to us and let us know a little bit more about her neighborhood and what was going on and what the conditions of houses were indoors and how she felt about her other property and, and those kind of things. So, so we were able to build some rapport with her, and she had a groundhog problem underneath her porch. So we went and got a live trap cage and we set that up, and she was getting some ammonia and trying to stop it from digging around her house and everything. So yeah, it was good. That was positive. It wasn't all negative today.
So we always offer up, like if anyone needs a hand with anything or needs anything, that we're always open to give a helping hand.
Yeah.
I think it's important in our communities to get to know everyone. And
yeah, we're not nosy, right? But we get to know everybody, you know what I mean? Because you want to know your neighbors and you want to understand where they're at, and if you can lend a hand, help out. I don't want to have dinner with these people every night, but we want to know our neighbors, but it's not like I want to sit down and have dinner with them every night. But if there's something we can do to help them, I'm more than happy to extend a helping hand,
Yep.
and to get to know them. And in this case, twice this week, we were able to walk. We were told about properties that aren't even on the market. So when we were over looking at the house that we might bid on, 2 houses came up. Now we're talking 3. We're talking about a total of 5 houses that were, like, if you look and drive down a road, you would not know these houses would be considered for sale. It's all through getting to know people and having those conversations. And this started months ago from learning this block.
That's absolutely key, because we have so many properties that come up on the listings. But again, we found this one off the market.
Right.
And look at all the properties that we came across in the last week that are off market that could potentially be deals.
Right. 5 of them.
So I'm seeing, at least in our city, that there's more potential in the off market deals. And so if you put in the due diligence to find those off market deals, whether it be networking with your community, meeting people that are out and about, driving around your neighborhoods, looking at properties that might look vacant.
Well, and there's some emotional attachment to these places that we're talking about tonight too. And I think that's important to bring up, is that she had really fond memories about certain houses. And I don't know that she just wants to sell to anybody. I think she's actually looking for somebody that's willing to actually keep them up and actually do what her father has done, what she has done, and I get that sense just from that conversation. Now, the other conversations were not like that at all, but this one was. And I think there are certain people that take pride in their properties.
They want people that are going to continue, I guess you could say, their legacy and keeping
the neighborhood,
keeping a good neighborhood, keeping good properties, and keeping the properties in good condition.
And not to be shitty to our neighbor to the right here, but they were fixing their place up. They got the city has a thing. If you're not keeping your rental properties up, they can fine you and tell you they need to be painted and screens need to be put in and gutters need to be hooked up. And there's a list of things that the city is allowed to do if you're going to be a landlord. And the property next to us, they got fined over and over and over again. And I know there's some reasons why they didn't get to it, but ultimately they ended up getting fined $1,500 for not keeping their place up. Well, they tried to do it, and I'm just going to be blunt. They didn't scrape it well enough, and they didn't get everything covered, and the city came back out and said it's not done. So today they were back out working on it again. And these are the things, like, and you hear when we were talking to that woman, when she's looked at the house, she goes, that house used to be beautiful. It was kept up. So that's what gave me the sense that she's looking for somebody that wants to actually do the work and keep them up, because it's important. Like, you don't want to live around an area that's houses are falling down. It costs the city money. We've talked about it before, and I know I'm not trying to like drive it into the ground here, but some of the houses went through and they take all the money out of it for 17 years and don't put anything back into it. We do not want a street like that. I do not want to look down the street 10 years from now and see it that way. So good week. A lot of crazy shit happened today, but it was a good overall.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bad week.
Man, it was.
We learned some shit.
And then, not too long after, Dave stopped by to drop off some cards that he found of yours from your wallet. Come upstairs, and Joe and I are standing in the living room, and I just glance outside, and there's a girl sitting on the hood of a car riding down the street.
Yeah, like 20 miles per hour.
And I was like, what did I just see? Mercury is in retrograde.
It's so crazy today. We actually called your...
there were some other weird things too.
We called John today. He's yes. He's into doing all that. And
hey, John, you got to get on to talk astrology with us.
He's like, oh yeah, today it's, and he went through it with us a little bit. So yeah, it would be good to have him on. Speak about astrology.
So we just wanted to share like what, we wanted to follow up with like what happened with the sheriff's sale and the auction and how that went. So
let me ask you a question.
Yep.
If you had to say through this process of going and looking at maybe what might come out of a tax sale or a foreclosure, right? What are things that we're better equipped for the next one? Do you feel like because you dove in and read too this week a little bit. So do you feel like you feel more comfortable with the process? I know I do. Even though we weren't able to do it, I think it got us closer to
100%, because even when we first got into looking for our first property, there was so much that we didn't know. Yes, you and I both did a ton of research before we even searched for a property. We wanted to learn as much as we could before we began the hunt.
Right.
And it's the same thing with that. There was so much that we didn't know, but leading up to that opportunity, it forces you to learn more. And like, you have to. If you don't, you can't move forward with it.
You can't. And so some of the things I got better equipped for the next one, looking up tax liens, right? So if there's any liens on the property, we became more proficient. I think we got to learn liens. We've learned, start to do the comps on the property. Is it, even though you can't see the inside, what are the other homes going for? So it forced us to start thinking about those things. The process with the bank and doing a wire, or I always get the other one wrong. What's it? The arch? I always
ACH.
I always call it an arch. I don't know if that's right, but so we became more familiar with that and understanding that the bank that I utilizes needs those extra addresses and things. So there's a ton of things. And when you say we read a lot, we did, but we read in a way that we wanted to make sure that we were educated so that we were maximizing the potential for cash flow and making sure that we were making a solid investment on our first one. And I don't think we were paralyzed. We were always inching towards actually going to the bank, actually finding a property and going for it. So it's not like you want to sit in that. You don't want to always just sit and, I'm learning, and then you never do anything. I don't feel like we do that. I feel like.
Yeah. And my point of what I was saying before, and maybe I didn't say it clearly when I finished that, was the first time seems like climbing a mountain, even though it's not. It doesn't. I'm just using it
it was a lot
as an expression, but it feels like climbing a mountain. But the second time you do it, it feels a lot easier. The third time you do it, you're probably not going to have to put much thought into it. And the more and more you do it, it's just going to become muscle memory in a sense.
Even on this last thing that we didn't quite get to successfully participate in the auction, like now we have a lot of the legwork done.
Yeah.
Now it's just.
And there may have been small things that we missed, and we did, and we missed a few things, but we realized that those were our failures. We make the adjustment.
Right.
And then we know how to counter that in the next one. So,
yeah, I think all in all, I think we're better prepared, and I'm excited to at least have that on the table as an option. I don't know that's the avenue we're going to go. And I'm excited to have another investor on board because I can see us doing maybe another Airbnb. We're about ready to do this one. I can see us doing that. So now we have, and we're looking at another duplex right now actively on the market. So we have a few different ways we can go to the second and third and fourth property right now. And we didn't have that a year ago. So that's kind of exciting, right?
So now we're getting our feet wet in all these different ways of investing in real estate.
Right.
And there's a lot of creative ways to do it.
Yeah. And so I'm excited about the duplex and excited about maybe partnering with somebody, but also then we found the owner finance, like you were just bringing up the different ways. So there's like
multi-units. You can do single family investing. You can do foreclosures. You can do owner finance. You can partner with people if you don't have the capital. If you find the right people that you trust that have some capital, or you guys can combine your money together to produce that capital for your next property.
Right.
So,
and for us, we're looking at how we maximize the cash flow. That might be an Airbnb. We live in an area that would allow us to do an Airbnb and make more capital, more revenue. Right. So we have we have several ways now through reading that we start to understand, like, we're not just dead in the water if this doesn't work. And that's the other thing I feel more confident about after this week.
And there's many different types of loans you can get, that could work for a certain situation that you're in. Maybe a house needs a lot of work and you can get it at a low cost, but you don't have the capital in your pocket to put that money back into it. You could look at a 203K loan.
203K home style loan. I think they're both, and they have different, levels of what you could do. Yeah. So you could also look at a first time buyer, you can move into a duplex. Yeah. 3 point, whatever down. So there's a lot of, you're right. There's a lot of creative ways that we can do this. So, all things that I didn't know as well as I know today, and we're still learning. So I'm excited that we had the conversation today and we found yet another possibility within our own community that we knew existed, but now we're actually talking to somebody that this could happen with. And it doesn't have to happen tomorrow for you and I. This is all the other thing I like about working with you, Brad, is it's a process. It's not one thing and we're like, oh, that's not going to work. We're dead in the water. Mm-hmm. It's more like, okay, so we're talking to them. We're still looking at the duplex. Oh, we're still learning about how we can get an account set up with the other partner so we're ready for the auction next time. Still meeting people, still looking at property. So it's not, it's not like one focus on one thing, That's the fun thing about it is because we're both creatives and you can put that creative spin on it and trying to come up with different ways. And if a certain way to invest doesn't work for you, there's many other ways that could potentially work. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. I mean, you can be creative. It's not just go to the bank and get a loan, right? It's not just you have a partner. It's not just doing Airbnbs. It's, there's many ways of arriving to that part of having multiple homes for rentals, right? So yeah, I agree with you. You can be creative, and but you still got to read and you still got to understand it. There's still with the owner finance thing, there's different ways you can structure those, right? And we need to look at that, but the numbers still have to run. It has to make financial sense for both parties, right? And it still has to be an investment on both parties when you're doing that. So tell me if you agree with what my thinking is here with moving forward. So originally we had the plan. See, when we first started out, we were going to get a loan. Had to see if either one of us could get approved. Joe got approved. We were going to try to put each other on the loan. We found out that's not the best way to do it. It's better that Joe was approved. He could put it in his name. Then I have my safety net on the deed for the attorney ready if anything happened to you that I would take over as the name on the loan. And from there, it was my turn to get approved. I achieved the goal that I needed to be at financially to get approved this year. So we're working on that second one. And then we even looked at this auction. We even looked at this. That's where I'm going, though. Yep. Go ahead. So sorry. We each got the loan, so we don't have a lot of capital. Right. So what we're going to do is look at those other options like the auction, owner finance, and hopefully we can get a few like that. Then, and it could go in any order. Well, and I wanted to back up right there on the thing. So even though you were actively looking for the place and we haven't got the other duplex in your name, when we go to do the auction, we had already determined we would put that in my name because that would hurt you for first time home buyer, right? So we were structuring that too. So there's creative ways that you have to think about how you're. I just wanted to bring that up in case anybody ever listens to this. So it wouldn't have benefited us, even though we can put it in your name. Would have hurt us long term. Yes. So it really depends on your partnerships with individuals too. Like for us, that's the way it's working for us. That doesn't mean it's going to work every that way for everybody, but that made sense for us. So strategically thinking those things through. And then, it's great, Brad. I'm glad we had this week that we had. It was a crazy week with crazy people around us. Had some negative, I don't even call them negative. Nothing life-changing happened. Losing some credit cards and having some negative stuff happen things happen isn't terrible. And I'll say this also because I'm lucky to have you as a business partner in this because a lot of people don't have that. And even if you're doing it on your own, like it's okay to have a job and meet those first time home buyer credentials for the loan, get that property. And if you don't have a lot of capital, you come from an area where you don't have a lot of money to invest back into another property, and try to find the best deal you can so you can build that equity in your first home. But look at the option of possibly finding homeowners that are looking to get out,
the owner financed properties, or try to find. I was going to say something else. I don't remember what it was.
Sorry, yeah, I get where you're going on that. But the other thing too, I wanted to say is like partnerships. Like we do the work together. So
or find a partner, talk to people, drive around, analyze neighborhoods, see if there's any properties that look appealing that maybe somebody would be willing to sell. Look for properties that look unoccupied.
Yeah,
you see somebody in a neighborhood you like, talk to them. You never know what you could find.
Things show up
them.
sometimes. And I think last episode I talked a little bit about integrity at the end, Brad. Comes down to integrity again. Like our street, people are starting to realize, oh, we're just here to help and do our work, and we treat each other well in our neighborhood, right? And that can continually expand. And if people know that you're interested in doing this, you will find something. Like it's just inevitable. Like our street now, there's 2 or 3 people that know we're looking, And so I think that helps out too. But the other thing I want to say about partnerships, I appreciate working with you too, brother. And this isn't just like, pull you up, like build you up, like in a false way. But what I enjoy doing is working on this place. We bought the place. It needed some repair, right? It was not the nicest house on the street. So I've enjoyed working on it too. It feels good to actually accomplish something that we're proud of. And I think we're making this where it's almost there. I would say in the next 2 months, we should be able to step out of this place. That's the goal for me in my head. And we should start to be able to get the permit ready maybe this year and start Airbnb this place out. So I'm hopeful that we can continue to move forward. But anyways, that's about all I have for this episode for me, Brad. I mean, I'm just grateful that we learned some more stuff. We didn't completely fail, and we're going to continue to move forward. And hopefully you guys ride along on our journey to see what we're up to and how we're doing it. And hopefully we're bringing some value. If we are, please reach out, give us a review. We haven't had too many reviews on our podcast. So if we have one, and we always are open to criticism. Yeah.
If there's anything we're missing that you might know more about, I mean, let us know.
And we want to continually meet. I want to put this out there too, Brett, because we want to continually meet individuals that are moving forward in their life, whether that be in business or doing something creative, and we'd love to have you on. So if you think somebody that's doing something that's productive and positive for their community and themselves, get a hold of us. We'd love to have them on the show. So thank you.
And as a final note, don't steal wallets. If you find a wallet, find out whose it is, and be a good Samaritan and return it.
Yeah, especially if there's a license in there. Asshole.
So
So
be a good person.
Police are coming after those people, so that's kind of nice.
All right. Hopefully they learn their lesson. All right.
Yep. Peace.
Peace out.